Hi, yeah. I am trying to show proof of concept. It's a quick demo of triggering Matillion jobs or building a cyclical dependency between Matillion jobs, pretty much calling one Matillion job from another job upon completion. So situations where downstream job is dependent upon another job um, for its data, and it can only run after that previous job completes. Uh, so Matillion scheduling doesn't automatically allow that unless you have linked jobs. So here I'm trying to show how we can use AWS component and leverage that to trigger one Matillion job from another. So I'm gonna share my screen here to show how that works. So over here we see I have a test drive of Matillion server that I downloaded for 72 hours that we have. The reason is because currently we don't have AWS component access called like SQS and Lambda um, for our group. So this is just to show how the triggering works from a test drive Matillion server, and then to kind of successfully show that it is possible to do it when we eventually get the SQS access. So over here, in this window, you see two Matillion jobs I have created. For simplicity purposes, it's all under one project right now. As you can see, it's just under one project because I wasn't able to actually create two projects on this test drive server because of lack of credentials. But under that two projects, I have created two folders to make it almost look like they're two projects. It works the same way. And under that, so let's say if I go switch projects here, and that is project group, and then that's a project. And under that, I have two folders, analogous to two different projects, and I have job A and job B. My goal here is to run job A, and when it completes, it automatically kicks off job B. Essentially, job B is dependent on the data or any actions that results from job A. So we only want to run job B if job A completes. So as you can see, you have job A and job B, very simple one, just to kind of show. And on Matillion side, of course, it is using SQS component to send a message. So here job A does something. I'm just putting a simple Python scripts here, which is just showing that, hey, I have completed successfully. We'll trigger job B, are you ready? And then once it's successful, from here, I drag the successful arrow to say SQS message start job B. And that SQS component, and I have this JSON here document. This is actually a message format, more in a name value pair concept, but that's the format we need to define. And in this format, I'm saying, hey, what job I need to call is I'm saying project group, which is the project we just saw. Test drive, which is the project. Default version of the job. Environment is test. And job is job B. Environment test is nothing but this environment right here called test. And same as that project group and then test drive project. So it calls that one. And as you can see here, if I click here, the queue name pops up because I have configured my connection to AWS. And on the job B side, as you can see, there's nothing. It's just another job. It just runs from it. But the key here is from here, I'll come back to the Matillion portion here, but on AWS, I have created a queue called start job B. And just a simple queue, nothing fancy here. Um, but on Matillion side again, if I go into my environment, actually I should, this earlier version, so I'll just go to manage credentials here. As you can see here, I have defined an AWS connection here. I'm just calling it AWS because that is what my AWS account is called, and define the access key and secret key. And if I test it, it is all successful. It also checks other components that are successful or not, like S3, SQS, SNS, and stuff like that. Now, the same way here, I can go ahead and from my security credentials, I can get my security credentials, which we can get, which is from access keys and stuff. That's what I got. As you can see here, I just created one not long ago and I used it. And that's on the AWS side I need. We do need to make sure that when you go to the queue, which is here, it has the permissions. So I have added permissions, say all SQS queues, and it has everybody on it. So we need to allow full access to the queue. Another way of permissions defined here is IAM. Under IAM, I have defined the users and groups, roles here, as you can see here. AWS service for role and service for policy. And if I go here on users, same for groups, I've defined the policies over there. Now, when I come back to Matillion, there's one thing when you do, once we have created the AWS credentials, is once we can manage SQS now, you get a chance to pick what AWS credentials you want to use. In this case, I just added a new AWS credential called Bish AWS. So I clicked on that. Once I click that, I click the region, and if I have access to that queue from here, it will pop up. So it will show. So as you can see here, start job B, the queue is available, is visible to me now, which is this particular one. So I click that one, and I have other queues called tests and success, and I was able to select that one too. This portion of the SQS configuration has a pretty good documentation of how to set up the and configure the SQS. And when you test it, success, and that's it, you're ready to go. Once that has been done, when you come here and you just define your queue, as you can see here, it just like when we saw earlier on the queue configuration, I can see all the queues in AWS because I have granted all access to it. In case I have granted access to everybody, just for simplification purposes. However, in a real world environment, we will grant whatever Matillion service account access to that AWS queue. And now I'm gonna go back here and some of the things that were set up, I came across Matillion documentation of managing how to manage SQS configuration. It has a documentation of how to set it up. Simple queue service in Matillion. We just went over this window over here, and then listener queue and the message formatting that needs to be done. If you want to see enable success and failure, you can go a little bit more advanced over here. But I'm just keeping it simple here for SQS listener queue. As you can see here, one of the key here is I've defined the message formatting, which has to be like this, and key, it says job B. So it's pretty much what it's doing is that it's sending a SQS message to job B to start, and job B is right here, right? I think that's pretty much it on the configuration side and how things are done, and that's a simple job to do that. Now I'm going to go ahead and execute this job, and I'll expect that once I run this job, job B will execute. So we run this job, and just like we wanted, it went ahead and ran job B. Upon completion, we can go ahead and look at the history of it to see how it looked like. As you can see, I just ran the job. It is 10:17, which is 10:17 p.m. here, Pacific time. It's ran the job. It said I successfully completed. We'll trigger job B, and the orchestra's component SQS, which I had in here, this particular one, successfully sent SQS message to the queue, and that is the queue, as you can see particular. If you go back here, and this is the queue URL, right? So it has sent the message to this queue on AWS. And this says run, which means I ran the job either manually or through a schedule. If you say schedule, it will say schedule. And then if you see the queue, there you go, job B was executed. I'm going to expand both of these. Hey, look, I got triggered from job A. So job B was executed. So yeah, so this is how we can trigger one Matillion job from another job, and multiple. You can create the job dependency over one another. As you can see, I said main job, calling a dependent job. So that's pretty much for this series. If you have any questions, let me know. You can reach me. Thank you.